everyone. My name is Jo Stevens, and I'm the coordinator of Common Grounds Women in Business Network. Thanks so much for taking the time to check in and learn more about the amazing Common Grounds and what we do. Now, Common Grounds provides coffee meetups for women in business to network and connect with like-minded women in business. Now, we have an amazing, diverse group of women, and one of the reasons why I started this vlog chat was to help these incredible women spread the word on not only what they do, but why they do what they do. Now, today I'm joined by the amazing Shannon. And Shannon, would you like to say hello to everybody and formally introduce yourself?
Love to. Thanks, Jo. So, yes, my name's Shannon A. Swales. I am a psychologist or clinical psychologist by trade, as I like to say. I work specifically now with midlife, burnt out, overwhelmed, stressed out women who are really needing a space to come back to themselves. So, I really love working in that space. So that's where, yeah, that's what I do. And besides what I do, I'm a doggy mama. Uh, and it's something that I really, really love. And I'm a nomad at heart, but currently stuck in Brisbane.
You like to travel around a bit. Oh, I love to hear that.
I do. I do. It's just been on hold for a while, but I'm a bit of a traveler. I used to travel, was very privileged a couple times a year internationally and yeah, pre-COVID. Yeah. But it's still true to my heart. And so I try and do nomad-y things around because you can still be a bit of a nomad in your own backyard. So I try to do that.
Yeah. So I'm going to touch on this question. So does that mean like you've moved into states, you've lived overseas, or you've lived in Australia a little bit?
Australia's always been home. I'm originally from Cairns, but only moved a little bit down the road, so to say, Brisbane. I did live in Melbourne for a while and lived in Canada for a year and did attempt to do a backpacking holiday over in UK, but didn't last too long over there in my early 20s. But yeah, it's mostly go over, come back. I think it'll always be that way for me. Australia's home.
Absolutely. Yeah. We do live in a beautiful place.
Yeah.
So tell us like why did you get into like your business? Like what prone you to go down that path of that journey?
Well, I was thinking about like working for myself. It really stemmed back to I was raised in a family. My dad owned his own business, and mum and dad. And I think that witnessing that whole entrepreneur, like not that they called them that back
No,
then,
they
but
didn't.
he created his own business and they ran it. It was very small. They did have a couple of employees. And in my early 20s working in hospitality, I did think about running my own cafe, but that wasn't my thing. And then long journey into psych, and I just followed the industry pathway.
Mm.
I veered away from that. But after my very significant burnout in midlife, which really halted what I was doing, and I really rethought everything, it was a natural progression to when I came back to psych to do it on my own terms and run my own business. So I suppose being a business owner, being my own business came from that. Yeah.
Yeah. So was that you're working like for a company or like in a hospital or something, and it just was starting too
Yeah.
much, and then in that one you went, no, I'm going to do something my own business and do it my way. Is that kind of thing what happened?
It's a bit weird. Like in clinical psychology, pretty much right throughout your training, which was a 10-year journey for
Yeah.
me, it really is positioned that you'll go out and you'll work in private practice, either as an employee or as a solo practitioner, but you work under that banner. So you're a solo practitioner, but it's not your business, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like you're still working under another business, although you're not an employee. So I worked that way mostly in my career prior to the burnout. And I worked in one very beautiful place.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't where I thrived. So it, hopefully I answered your question
No,
there.
no.
I was working in group practice, really beautiful practice. It wasn't the practice itself that was an
No, but it's
issue.
just the
Um,
yeah, the situation.
mm,
So is
yeah.
it that's where you kind of like then was reevaluated, had your like, you're
Mm.
saying like, when you've had your own little burnout and you realize my goal is to help other women. Was that kind of like what happened?
For me, if I'm really honest, and I've taken a real honest look at it, because even early journey into psychology, it was really about myself. It was really about um, it's not the traditional answer. A lot of people go, yeah, to
No,
help others.
no.
But to be honest, it was really mirroring what I needed. Not that I knew that at the time. I was
Mm,
just interested. I've always loved human behavior, even as a teenager, and I really didn't get it. And psychology gave me the knowledge and tools and understanding of humans. I mean, psychology doesn't give all of that to
no.
you, but it gave me a framework, a knowledge base, and it helped me understand emotional and mental health and well-being because I didn't get that from, and I know a lot of us don't get that from our upbringing. So that's where it kind of, it born out of that. But when I burnt out quite, yeah, spectacularly and not being able to work and then coming back into the industry, I've always been someone that I suppose this is where the helping of others, it's like people should be able to have the knowledge around emotional and mental health and have the skills and knowledge to be able to weather challenges like burnout, like midlife, and whatever that brings, overwhelm, stress, the big, deep questions. Who am I? What am I doing? And I just wanted to be that person that can hold that space to help another woman who is finding that she's in that space of totally worn out, maybe because she's been overgiving or being neglected or just not meaning to, but neglecting or abandoning
Yeah.
herself. Yeah, just I suppose there is that wanting to give back
No,
as
absolutely.
well.
And it's funny because like, like having these conversations like with other women, like, who are in that role of supporting other women. And even like for myself, it is that journey, that self journey,
Mm,
is like generally is what happens. And then it's just like,
mm.
I'm ready now. I'm like feeling good myself, and I'm ready
Yeah,
to give back
yeah,
to others. Isn't that
because I
kind of
took
journey that happens?
because I took 2 years away from clinical work, the one-on-one, because I was not well enough. I had
Yeah.
to swing the pendulum back to
Yeah.
I called it being selfish, but self-focused
Yeah.
because I've been so other focused, and then being able to I can come back and now I can give, but give in a way that doesn't neglect me. I was
Yes.
with the wisdom
Absolutely.
I've gained, yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
a
I
bit
love
more
that.
balance. Wouldn't
Yeah,
say
absolutely. We need that
me.
more balance, and I agree. But it is funny how like I talk to a lot of women, and that's like where they come
Yeah.
from, and it's like their passion, what they have, what they're probably their journey now. It's like, yeah, I'm ready to share that with others and help others and be that supportive network. It's where it kind of comes from in many, many ways. So
Your
yes.
own journey, yeah.
Yeah. So we talked
Mm.
about like a bit of, like about, so obviously your target market is all that, the support system that you're offering like to people with your practice is like, women in business. Is it generally that, or is it like sometimes can go out of that realm as,
Yeah. Well, when I first came back to practice, which was 2022, I started with groups and then went into the one-on-one. I do a bit of both. I was working with men and women, but it just so happened that we're burnt out and it could be any age group. And I'm still open and do it. Yeah, accept clients. It just so happens that I see a lot of midlife women and probably because I'm a midlife woman and they can resonate because I have my story out there, I share. So they see me as a safe place to
Yeah.
come to because I've been through it and I'm not ashamed to talk about it. And yeah, so I think just naturally, yeah, and I because I'm a midlife woman and still traveling that, still
Yeah.
figuring out that space. And so I'm learning about it, I'm delving into it and how psychology or how I can help and help me but help others. So that's where I'm widening, I suppose, my services to support them specifically. But yeah, I still have 20-year-olds. I have 60 men and
Yeah.
women, but mostly women. Hmm.
Yeah, let's be honest, women are more prone to asking for help.
Yes.
Some a lot of
Yeah.
men are starting to do that, and we're really trying to
Yes, they
encourage
are
that.
encouraged. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. But
Hmm.
it is majority the women, and that's generally like the way in a lot of relationships is the women started, and then if they, especially if they're in, married or have a partner,
Yeah.
that's kind of that, then that comes from that. So Yeah, I don't know, women, we are all willing to put our hand up and go, I need help, which is great. I'm
Yeah.
grateful that we're able to do that. And hopefully more men will down the track as
They
well.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of
Thank
touched, sorry about that. You kind of touched on it that you do a lot of the one-on-ones, but you kind of a little bit about groups. So do you still do some kind of group sessions and things like that? Is that kind of things you offer as well?
I am big on groups. I love them. When I used to practice in the way that I did, groups was the thing that I loved, and it was just so hard to fill them in the for some reason in the practices that I worked at. So yeah, so it's where my heart is. So I love to get out and speak. I love to run workshops. But the main, I suppose, the thing that I run consistently is an online community called Midlife Reclaimed, which is for my midlife women who are feeling stressed, overwhelmed, and wanting to carve a space out for themselves, and one where they can be met by myself,
Yeah.
professional, but also peers, just other women, that so they don't have to be on their own in there. So it's a supportive space
Yeah.
that they can be, reflective. I use a lot of things in there, but yeah, just essentially, it's really about creating the compassionate collective space.
Oh,
Because
wonderful.
because as a therapist working one on one most of my life, most of my professional life, I that's what I kept seeing early in my career. I was like, the people who get well quicker are those who have at least one person or a
Yeah.
someone, and not just any person. I mean, certainly any person who's supportive enough, but someone who's lived it, who
Mm,
actually gets being a woman in midlife burnt out.
yeah.
There's something magical about, because you don't have to explain yourself. You do not have to, because often you don't have the energy to. You're just too bloody
Mm,
burnt out to even, if someone goes, hey, what's going on? Like, whereas if you're in a group of women, they know what's going on. Like, they may
yeah.
not know your specifics, but they already can hold that space. And so I just realized, like, I love the one-on-one stuff, but I absolutely love the group. And I think that was a lot to do with my burnout, is I wasn't where the healing happens.
Mm.
One-on-one, there's some good healing, but the group is the healing, I think.
No,
Yeah.
no, no, I agree. And then you get that different points of view, and it is finding
Yeah.
the right people as well, like you need that safe space to share. And if everybody has been through it or know, or have had their bit of their own journey, because I know like I was actually just having this conversation, someone like said they were sharing something quite personal with someone they thought was a friend who couldn't cope with what they were sharing, and it's hard when you're opening up yourself and
Yeah.
you're wanting to share something and if that other person's not reciprocal, is that the word I'm looking for, or
Yeah.
does it,
Yeah.
not in that that
They
frame,
can't hold it.
mind frame.
Yeah.
That is where, like you were saying, if you're in that supportive space where people are there, all there for that same journey to heal and
Yeah.
to share, that creates that safe space,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Exactly. And if it's facilitated by someone who is trained and able to hold a group, because yeah, certainly the other women that are showing up to the group, it's not, they're going to be at different capacities to be able
Yeah.
to hold space. So it's not on them, but on me to hold that space
Yeah.
for them. I'm the professional in that
Yeah.
space, but also, a fellow human being, but the guide, the facilitator, as I like to call myself in that space,
Absolutely.
to help that. So if there's anyone that can hold that space, it'll be me for that,
Yeah.
for the group. And if anyone else has capacity to share or to go, oh, I hear you. And I've seen this in groups that I've run. I'm just like,
Mm.
amazing.
And is it?
That
Yeah,
reciprocal.
absolutely. You just actually hit the nail on the head there. It's I hear you. I think that's
Thank
what
you.
so many people just want is I hear you. Not there to fix them,
No.
not there to give like, even give their advice.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
definitely.
it's
Yeah.
just to I hear you. And I
Yeah.
think that is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because this is not a group for fixing. No one needs
No,
fixing here. No one's
no,
broken.
no,
Even in
no.
even in my one-on-one, but it's such a natural thing that we tend to do as humans.
Yeah.
I fell in that trap and occasionally still do with myself or with others, even professionally. No, I'm here to provide the healing space and to provide maybe
Mm,
some wisdom and skill to help with your journey. But you don't need fixing.
No,
You know,
no, absolutely.
no,
Oh,
you
oh,
need to be heard. Mm,
absolutely, yeah, they're just to be heard. I think that
mm,
is the one thing I think that, hopefully like we're all getting a bit better at. It's just some people just they just need to like be like I can hear you. Like just, say what you need to say and just hold that space for them. I think that's so
yeah.
important and a great way
Mm,
for anyone to move forward to, it's what we all need kind of
yeah.
thing. So yeah.
And you need to be held.
Absolutely. So that program, is that a once a month thing, or is that something that you
Yeah.
offer on the,
Yep.
that you can find online about or?
Yeah, you can find online. You Google, well, it's certainly if you Google Shannon A. Swales or Google Midlife Reclaimed Community, but certainly just even emailing me, and I'm happy to have a chat about that. But it's an online space. It's a 7-day trial first, so they can come in. But weekly we hold what I like to call the heart space. But this is the live get together. It's very casual. It's
Yeah.
45 minutes. It's really focused on helping guide the group to come into themselves.
Mm,
There's offering of sharing, there's offering of reflection activities. I will guide in a general reflection theme. I'm a mindfulness trained practitioner as well, so I often do a meditation.
yeah.
uh, so they're weekly sessions, but it's a monthly, like you pay a monthly fee.
Yeah.
Like I said, 7-day trial to start with, so there's no commitment financially, and you can opt in and out. You don't have to stay, further
Yeah.
months if you don't want to. You can come in, you can look up, because I wanted something. We all have different capacities at different times, so it's like
Absolutely.
it's a group you can come in and out of. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so beautiful. And it's nice that's out there. And I think there's, yeah,
Mm.
that's what we're needing. More women, are needing that, safe
Yeah.
space,
Mm.
to share and just, sometimes, talk, we said like talking sometimes to family or to some friends, it's
Mm.
just not the right space to be in. So sounds like you
Yeah.
provide a beautiful space for, women
I
to be
hope
able
so.
to
Yeah.
let that go. So like let it all out, not let it go, but let it
Yes, yeah,
out.
thanks, Dave. And like I still like because I know that's not everyone's cup of tea too, so still offer the one-on-one space, and
Yeah.
especially for people that really need that personalized touch, because the group is it's not that opportunity to really get the personal touch. Like when you have that one,
Absolutely.
maybe
Yeah.
lit the bits, but the
Yeah.
one-on-one is where you get that very personal attention,
Yes.
obviously.
Absolutely.
We can get deep down into the root of things. So the one-on-one work will always be part of what I do. The group work will always be a
Mm,
part as well, and
absolutely. Your
get it out to
one-on-ones,
the masses.
are they available online or are they just like face to
Yeah,
face?
I'm an online therapist. I often say therapist rather than psychologist, but same. Um, I did go back to face for a bit, and I do love it. I love what it provides. That energy
Yeah.
of being in the same room. But I benefit a lot better from my own energy and well-being by doing online. So everything's online.
Well, I was going to
Um,
say, yeah, because in that way you can, if you need to go away or like, bring your little nomad out and you're going on a little bit of a holiday, you can like go, okay, I can
And
set these times. Yeah,
that too, I can keep
absolutely.
my nomadic life. And I love the fact that I can reach people all over Australia.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my registration as a psychologist restricts me just to Australia.
Yeah.
Also insurance, but still, I get to. There's plenty of
Yeah.
midlife women across Australia.
Oh, beautiful.
And yeah, so it's all online.
Oh, perfect. Oh, I love
Hmm,
that.
hmm.
My gosh, I feel like we've
Cover.
covered quite a lot, which is fantastic, and I'm hopefully everybody gets a lot out of this. I think that
Yeah.
it's really important, to know that there is that someone like you on there for to help people if they're interested in having these online, situations as well that they can tap into if needed. What is it
Hmm.
like? So, what I'm going to ask, now, we're probably going to end up on like, that one piece of advice or something that you would offer or that you would, anyone that's listening, that would you would like to share with anybody?
Yeah, for me, it's that you are like yourself is your most important resource,
Yeah.
especially as a woman in business, but just in life, you are your most important resource. So, that importance of giving back to that, of taking care of that as best you can, getting the help to take care of that. Don't do that alone. Just you're your number one resource. And I also like to say you're non-negotiable.
Oh, yes.
Like that came up in another interview. It came out and I went, oh. But I think they were asking what is like, it was around my takeaway, like what has changed with me. And I said, well, I'm no longer negotiable.
Mm,
And I don't want no one's negotiable out there. Like you're well, and I suppose I'm talking about your resource, you.
yeah.
Your energy is not negotiable. That's yours and yours to decide what to do with. Yeah.
I
Mm,
love that, because so often we go, you can't, drink from an empty cup, or, half full, half empty. But I
mm.
love that non-negotiable, because
Yeah.
we really, to help others, we really need to help ourselves first. They always say that like on the
100%.
plane, put the oxygen mask on
Yeah.
first, before you help
Yeah.
others. It's the same thing in life. And I love that because it is non-negotiable. You really do need to take care of yourself,
Yeah.
no matter what the situation, if you're
Mm.
in business and in life, you need to make sure you
Yeah.
take care of
I
yourself.
mean, if you're a parent,
Yeah,
I mean, even a partner, there's so much weight and responsibility and stuff that we're holding, especially in business as well and running a business, especially if it's caring for vulnerable others as
yeah,
well, or just client people facing it. It's a lot of energy, good energy often, like, but
yeah,
it's still
absolutely.
energy. And that person who comes along with she always needs to be part of the negotiation.
Oh,
She needs to be forced foremost. Yeah.
100%. Totally agree with you there. Like I know, even like after I do my big ladies who long lunch events, when like
Yeah.
I do my last Friday, it's very draining of my energy, giving the whole day. And so
Yeah.
I do need to have, like I call it the next day, my bone bed day, because I need to
Yeah.
have that time out, and that is a non-negotiable now because I just don't book anything in the next day because I need that time for myself to
Mm.
regroup. So yeah. Oh,
That's
Shannon,
beautiful. And that's a great example of that because it's not that we don't go and give ourselves,
no.
but then, okay, where am I giving back to myself to help support
Yeah.
that? And that's a beautiful example of you not being negotiable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
I love that. Thank you so much, Shannon, for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope that everybody takes something away from this and really enjoyed our chat. So thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you for this privilege and opportunity to share. And I hope it's been helpful for the listeners, the viewers as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope that you're having a great day, and we'll see you again another time soon. See you later.